Board. There we go, recording in progress. Okay, welcome everyone to our Brooklyn High School Grade 8 Parent Information Session. My name is Natalie Morgan Cook, and I will be your guide on this journey from grade 8 to high school. The recording is going to continue for the entire presentation, so I can post it afterwards for those that weren't able to attend. Okay, Brooklyn High School, from there to here, how far we've come. I'd like to begin with the land acknowledgement, and I will turn my video off so that you don't have to stare at my face. So I'm just going to do that before we get there. Okay. 1 second. It's up here. Okay, stop video. My apologies. Okay, land acknowledgement. The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island, First Nation, the Mississaugas people, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. The Durham District School Board recognizes Indigenous rights are distinct. In the exercise of those rights, Indigenous staff and students shall not be subjected to actions with the aim or effect of depriving these distinct rights. And the Durham District School Board is committed to learning environments that are safe, welcoming, respectful, equitable, accessible, inclusive, and free from discrimination while placing human rights and equity at the center. So welcome to our virtual parent night. We decided to be virtual this year for a variety of reasons: equitable access, we aren't canceling due to weather or any concerns, and we're recording it so that our families who can't attend can access it at a later date. So I'd like to welcome you from our family of schools if you're from Brooklyn Village, Blair Ridge, Winchester, or Chris Hadfield. I'd like to welcome you if you're a Brooklyn resident but attending a different DDSB school, perhaps Pringle, Meadowcrest, or DDSB at home. I'd like to welcome our Brooklyn residents that might live in Brooklyn but are attending a different school board like the Durham Catholic District School Board or perhaps a private school board, and future residents of Brooklyn. And if you're not sure if we are your school, there is a school locator that is available for you to access. Our school feeds families that live within Brooklyn. So welcome to all of you. Here's some logistics for tonight before we get started. Audio, chat, and video are disabled, but our audience, please use the Q&A box to ask a question. Another benefit of this virtual platform is that you can ask a question at any point. We have several experts on our panel this evening: Mr. Howlett, Mr. Knowles, who are grade counselors, and our head of inclusive student services, Ms. Peralta, and our special education resource teacher, Ms. McCabe. So we have two sets of people who can answer guidance-related questions and questions related to inclusive student services. They're on as panelists, so please make sure you ask questions as I go. This presentation, as I mentioned, is recorded and will be posted on our website with a link to the YouTube page. Okay, Brooklyn High School info. We are 1,418 students and growing, what feels like daily. We opened in 2015 and we're the newest DDSB high school. We have approximately 12 buses, so those bus cancellations do impact us moderately. We are a community school, however, walking is encouraged. Parking is a highly sensitive and emotional issue. Same with dropping students off in the morning. As if you live close to the school, I'm sure you've seen the traffic jams that happen outside of school. Please make sure that you encourage your children to walk. And if you're driving, give yourself enough time to get to and from school, as there's only one entrance and one exit. There's 100+ staff, including admin, clerical support staff, and teachers. And next year, we're projected to have about 370 grade 9 next year. Our administrative team is made up of Ms. McKenzie, our principal, and vice principals, Mr. Demaray, who deals with the alphabet A to L for last names, and Ms. Bratton-Sevick, who deals with the alpha M to Z for last names. So they would be dealing with your children when it comes to attendance, lates, any behavioral concerns that happen in the school. They're also there to answer questions during the day, as are we in guidance. We just have different functions. I like to say that there's no consequences attached to our role. in guidance. So the guidance presentation, why you're all here tonight. The learning goal is by the end of this, you'll know what high school will look like because believe me, it looks different than when I went to high school. You'll learn how your child will pick their courses for grade 9, learn about the ways we can support them in achieving their goals. And if you are not part of our current family of schools, you can learn about how to register your child. So what does high school look like? Well, for those of you that have driven by Brooklyn High School, you can see it's a very beautiful building. These are our family of schools mascots that feed into us, and you can say goodbye to those and become, our bear. I had wanted Care Bears, but that is not as ferocious, I suppose, as this bear. Although in guidance, we do like to call ourselves the Care Bears, much to my poor department's chagrin. So what is guidance? Guidance has changed a lot since you probably were in high school. We have grade counselors that follow your child from grade 9 to graduation. We have all graduated many times, and we look forward to continuing to graduate every 4 years. We take care of your child's academic, emotional, and social well-being. We are the primary contact for you and your child. Each grade counselor has a Google Classroom and reminds specific to kids and to parents where they can share information, you can message. We like to be in constant communication with you and with the kids. If there's often an event that's happening, like perhaps a bus cancellation that impacted the exam schedule this year, we are often the first to send out that information because we have all of you on your phones or your devices. So Ms. Schossenberg, I also like to put our photos up from high school so that I can celebrate where we've come and to remind you that we were kids once too, and we loved it so much that we are still in high school. Ms. Schossenberg is the current grade 9 counselor. Next year she'll be the grade 10. Mr. Knowles, who's online tonight, is the current grade 10 counselor. Next year, grade 11. I love that grade 9 hair, Mr. Knowles. Mr. Howlett is our current grade 11 counselor, and he's going to be graduating next year after grade 12. And I am the current grade 12 counselor. I'm also the head of the department, and I will be your next year grade 9 counselor. So every 4 years, even though I do this presentation every year, it's me who's going to be your counselor. So next year, it's me. And to give you some context as to why this is important, here's a visual representation of the number of teachers that your child could potentially have while in high school. That's a lot of teachers over 4 years. So that is a lot compared to one of me. So I am your constant contact. I can liaise between the teachers and the students, between you and the teachers. I am the constant connection for you for all 4 years of high school. And if you've had siblings who've graduated with me or are currently with me, they can tell you that I'm always accessible, I'm readily available. They can usually find me, and in the school, in my office, I'm always around. So please, please, please make use of me as you have me to help you for the next 4.5 years. And it goes fast, believe me. Okay, what will their day actually look like? We are an early start school. We've always been an early start school, pre-COVID as well. Our entry bell is 8 a.m. That means the bell that you're supposed to be in class in a seat is 8 a.m. You can see that the classes are 75 minutes long, and I do like to call our lunch brunch because it starts and ends before the afternoon, and we end early at 2 o'clock, which has benefited a lot of our students with jobs, picking up younger siblings at the elementary schools, and participating in school extracurriculars and their own extracurriculars outside. So lunch is 40 minutes, there's 5 minutes in between, and each class is 75 minutes long. And the day goes fast. What is high school all about? Well, students earn credits. Each course is worth 1 credit, and I like to tell them that they're putting credits in the bank. So even if they're not in love with the credit that they're taking, the goal is to get those credits in that credit bank. They get 4 credits a semester. 8 are earned by the end of the year, and we are a semestered school from September to January and February to the end of June. I had a grade 8 ask me at my visits the other day if we take credits away, and I calmed their fears. No, we cannot take a credit away. Once you earn it and it's done, it's yours in the bank. So that's what you get to hold on to those. Most of our students are working towards an OSSD, but there are some students that work towards an Ontario Secondary School Certificate, which is 14 credits in total. And we also have 2 classrooms worth of students that work on a Certificate of Accomplishment. They take K-level courses, and they're non-credit courses focusing on life skills for students with special education needs. So there's a variety of students in our schools working towards a variety of different things. But the majority of them are working towards an Ontario Secondary School diploma. So what that is 30 credits to graduate, 18 are compulsory and 12 are optional. And I've included a link as well as a visual there if you want to explore more, but I will get into those requirements after. In addition to those, however, they need to have 40 hours of community involvement. They may start July 1st, 2023. I'm not discouraging them from volunteering now, but those hours will not count for graduation. So they can start in July of 2023, and the best thing that they can do for themselves this summer is get those volunteer hours done. They're not super busy with jobs. They have more time on their hands. This is the summer to get those hours that are a graduation requirement done with. I really implore you to encourage your child to get those hours in this summer. They also have to pass the provincial literacy requirement to graduate. That's in grade 10. Do not worry, we provide lots of support around that. They do write the EQAO test for math in grade 9 in the semester that they have math, but that is not a graduation requirement. So it's not as much weight attached to it. So we support both numeracy and literacy in our school in terms of extra support. But please don't have your kids worry about that literacy test until we get to their grade 10 year, and we'll have lots of support around that. In addition to the hours and the literacy requirement and the credits, they also have to get 2 credits in e-learning. Now, to clarify, that's not 2 additional credits. That 2 credits is a part of the 30. However, you have an option to opt out of that requirement. You can't opt out of it until grade 9. So on our grade 9 day, of which I don't know what it looks like yet, but on our grade 9 day, you'll see my smiling face handing out forms to you or pointing you towards this website. If you aren't sure if your child wants to opt out, you don't have to opt out in grade 9. You can wait and see what their direction looks like in high school. If you fill in the opt-out form and they do end up taking an online course, that's okay. That's no problem. All this is saying is that you aren't expecting them to take 2 credits in e-learning at some point in their journey in high school. And when thinking about e-learning, these are independent, asynchronous courses that do operate during the school day at any time, obviously, because they're asynchronous. I will talk more about those e-learning credits. I don't want anyone to get too worried about them. But if your child chooses to have them as a graduation requirement, great. If they don't, they can absolutely move forward. I do see that participants have raised their hand. I'm sorry that we aren't going to be answering questions like that. If you do have a question, please make sure that you put the question in the Q&A. So please don't raise hands because I won't be able to answer questions during the presentation. Thank you. And another thing that I want to remind you on is our department is always focused on graduation with an exclamation mark or graduation with a question mark. We'd prefer that your child's graduation status has an exclamation mark, not a question mark. So please make sure that you adhere to these graduation requirements. Okay, how do you make an informed decision? So making a decision about pathways. The thing that drives our pathway planning and our beliefs in our schools is that at the core student success beliefs, all students can be successful. That success can come in many different forms. It doesn't have to come in the form of a certain mark or a certain direction that they're headed. There are many paths to success. And we hope that by supporting the students with pathway counselors and our involvement in their planning and their grade 8 teachers, that they will make reflective, thoughtful choices about their grade 9 classes, that all grade 8s have the opportunity to learn about their strengths and interests while investigating different pathway options. That's the goal for high school, that they have lots of opportunity to explore many different paths, because who they are today might not be who they will be in the future. I wanted to briefly mention de-streaming. Since September 2021, my apologies, de-streaming has happened. In September 2021, it was math. 2022, it was science. And in 2022 as well, they took away grade 9 applied courses and offered inclusive only. And this next school year, English will be de-streamed instead of inclusive academic, which it was the year previous. So this year, new, English is going to be de-streamed. And they believe that streaming upholds systems of oppression and continues to marginalize students. So by removing that barrier, they are working towards allowing all students equitable and equal access to opportunity. Cultural shifts in schools needs to identify and dismantle systemic discrimination and structural inequities. De-streaming also increases educator capacity for effectively cultural responsive instruction and increases student engagement. So what that looks like is that ending streaming from grade 8 to 9 allows students one more year of school to figure out who they are in high school, how they're doing, what their interests are, how they've adjusted, and then these pathway decisions are made from grade 9 to 10. So discussions we might have had from grade 8 to 9 historically, now we have from grade 9 to 10 once we see who and how they are in high school. Okay, what are the different pathway options? So here is a visual. This document, by the way, that I keep referring to is our Choosing My Success Guide, and it's available on our website if you're not a DDSB student. If you are, you would have received this in your grade 8 classes. It's, as I mentioned, also on our website. This is what governs and guides our decision making and helps you as parents and students plan for grade 9. So I will be speaking about pieces in this document. So one of the pathways are locally developed course options. Not every student might be ready for a math, English, or science credit, and this leaves options open to fill gaps in their learning and still continue on pathway planning after this. Inclusive ministry de-streamed courses are offered for math, science, and English. Inclusive grade 9 academic courses, geography and French will be inclusive academic. We are not a French immersion, so that French immersion note does not count. I will also go through these at length when we get to the screen about what Brooklyn High School is offering. French 1.0 is a new course that we will be seeing if students are interested in taking. This is not an answer to not liking French or not thinking you're good at French. This option is for our families who have come to us without the 600 hours of instruction. And if you have a question around French exemption, that would be a great question to ask your CERT or our ISS team that is on the panel tonight. But French 101 is not an option for applied learners. That does no longer exist. This is for students who don't meet the language requirements. Okay, the other inclusive open options are seen in our arts, business, health and physical education, social science and humanities, and technology education departments. And I'll tell you what we offer at Brooklyn. So just a reminder that locally developed targets concepts that are not completed at the elementary level. So if your child has an identification and their work is being modified and perhaps they're not working at grade level, then this might be something that you want to discuss with your CERT at your school and the grade 8 teacher to see if locally developed in one or all of those subjects would be a good fit. This is not something that you can choose without principal approval. Outside of locally developed, de-streamed and inclusive academic classes, the de-streamed courses will offer new de-streamed curriculum, and an inclusive academic course is delivered such that it prepares students for grade 10 academic or applied pathways. So those are the pathway options for grade 9. And here is a visual that kind of gives you an idea of where each pathway could lead to in the future. This is based off of a grade 9 English, and this graphic is available in that document as well. So lots of options for pathways and pivoting and shifting moving forward. And that's what we're here to do to help you along your way as well, is your guidance counselor is there to support any of these questions you have around this. Okay, how do you know your child has made the right pathway choice? Well, they look forward to attending class, they're more engaged, they have a sense of accomplishment, they feel challenged but not overwhelmed. It's okay to feel challenged. You know, not everything is going to be incredibly easy to them, and that's okay. Things are going to get harder as they move through high school, but not overwhelmed. They have a feeling of self-confidence, they're good motivated, or good advocates, they're self-motivated. And usually their engagement will connect to their success, which connects to their happiness. And a lot of that has to do with choosing the right pathway choice. And we'll explore that more as well at the end of grade 9 or this time next year as they move into grade 10. So how do you choose your courses or your pathway? First of all, you need to understand what a course code is so that you can understand the only language I speak other than English. It's a useless language, but it's one that I definitely speak. It is, this is how you read a course code. So the first digit denotes what department it's in. In high school, we work in departments. So instead of perhaps having a grade level chair at elementary, high school is divided into different departments based on subject area. The first number, the fourth digit, relates to what grade it is. And the letter identifies what type of course it is, what pathway it is. So that is course code. There, you now all speak the same language that I do. Entirely useless, but it helps in high school. Okay, how to choose your success. So I hope that your child, if they're in my blueprint, fills in their IPP. They read the Choosing My Success document. They can discuss the career life planning process. They have review the pre-populated course planning tool. They can reflect, and then they can use my blueprint. And if your child does not have access to my blueprint because they're not in our Durham District School Board, that is okay. Don't worry, I will absolutely address that. So this is what the course planning tool looks like. So even if you're not in our board, this is a good thing for you to take stock of so that you can start to see where their pathway might be headed. It's a good document that consolidates all of the information from their grade 3, grade 6, and grade 7 and 8 report cards. As well, these are the questions that govern our pathway planning with students. Who are they? What is their plan? What are their opportunities? And the who they want to become rather than the what they want to become. The what is always going to come after, but who they want to be is something that we focus on with them. And often the what will be something that falls into place. So this is what we use as guidance counselors to guide our discussions with your children as they move through high school. My blueprint is set up to have them start exploring, have them see what their interests are, build their pathway, and get experience. And this is something that all of you will have access to once you are a DDSB student, and that activates in the fall if you're not part of our family of schools right now, outside of our board. But other than that, everyone else has access to this. But again, that's not going to be a barrier at all to course selection, I promise. These are the 4 documents that we use to govern our pathway planning throughout the years, and they're available to anyone and everyone on the school website. Okay, so for current DDSB students, you should be well aware of my blueprint. You add your courses to your high school plan, you review them, you submit them. Parents, you can put in an email, a valid parent email. And some schools, this is a school-based decision, will ask you to print a copy of your plan and sign-off sheet. However, we aren't accepting any paper copies, so that would be an elementary school decision, and they will let you know. And the elementary school admin and teacher approves their courses. Beyond that, from grade 9 to 12, then I'm the one that looks at their courses to ensure that they're making good choices. But from 8 to 9, it's their school admin and their teacher. And if you're not from our family of schools, then it will be me as well. Please have your children choose carefully. We actually create the timetable based on what they chose. We take their course selections, put them in a computer, hit a button. I wish it was this easy. And it spits out a timetable. And then we maneuver things to make sure that everyone's needs are met. And that's how we choose their classes. What they choose, that's how we build a timetable. What they choose goes into the timetable. And availability of programs is limited based on what the students chose. Some other limitations might be space in a class, space of that program, perhaps because we only have one auto room, so we can't offer 15 sections of that. So that might be some other limitations, but really what they choose dictates what we offer. So please have them make mindful decisions. In grade 9, 5 classes are compulsory. So of that 30 and 18 that are compulsory, 5 of them will get hit in grade 9: English, math, geography, French, and science. And these are the levels that we offer through the ministry at our school as well. English is D-streamed. There is a locally developed option, French academic. We've had amazing success of all of our French students that have gone through our program, whether they are in love with French or not. We have great success with students taking academic French. So I really encourage you, unless there are significant gaps in your French education, to choose the academic French option. Canadian geography is inclusive academic, and math and science are D-streamed and also have an option for locally developed. You do not have to choose all locally developed. If you are thinking about locally developed, you can choose one subject. But again, these are conversations that need to be happening with the CERT and your grade 8 teacher. And if you're coming into us, then those are questions that you can have with me as well. So in grade 9, 3 classes are electives, and this is also new. Last year, gym was a mandatory course that students had to take. Now it is an optional course in grade 9. It is still a graduation requirement, and I'll speak about that in a few minutes, but the students get 3 elective choices in grade 8 to 9. And they're listed there, but I will go into them. Students must also choose 2 alternates. We are a very big school now, and we need students to choose 2 alternates in case they don't get their first choice of electives, and they're not able to label in my blueprint which one they want to have over the next. It's just 2 electives. But the great, 3 electives and 2 alternates. But the great thing about how high school is set up is every elective course in grade 10 does not have a prerequisite. So if your child chose wrong or incorrectly, or they're unhappy with the electives that they got in grade 9 and they wish they got this other one, then there is nothing standing in their way from taking that in grade 10. So it is just an introduction to those departments I was speaking about. And if they don't get one that they wanted, then there's so many more options in grade 10 they can take, and they don't have to have had grade 8 or grade 9 drama, to take grade 10 drama. So there's lots of opportunity for movement to figure out who they are and what they like in between grade 9 and 10 and beyond. So they need to pick 3 electives from this option list plus 2 alternates. So there's drama, instrumental music. No knowledge of playing an instrument is required for that. However, students need to have a desire to want to play an instrument. Similar with vocal music, you don't have to be able to read sheet music, but you need to want to sing in front of your class and with groups in your class. Not in front of the school, just in your classroom, but you have to have a desire to want to sing. Visual arts is a class based on independent art projects in a variety of mediums. Music for creating is a course where students create digital music on iPads or computers. No musical knowledge is required. This is designed for those students that perhaps didn't have music in their elementary school, but are interested in taking an art that is connected to music. The Business and Exploring Technologies class, that is where students get to explore 2 different departments, business and technology, both of which are big departments in our school, in addition to our arts department and other departments. They spend half of this semester in a business classroom or a tech, whichever one comes first for them, and the other half, obviously, in the business or tech classroom. And in the business classroom, they're exploring the Google Suite. They're learning about how to use their Chromebooks effectively and other programs that they can use to make themselves successful, and other elements of business that's offered in the high school. And in the Exploring Technologies, they're in a modified lab where there's a lathe and they get to make a toolbox, and act surprised if they give it to you as a gift. It's a great gift, but they make things with their hands, and they bend metal, and they do AutoCAD drawings, they do bird's eye view drawings. There's lots of introduction to technology there. There's also Exploring Family Studies, again, another big department in our school. So they get an introduction to some parenting, some cooking, some fashion, some sewing, a variety of different things. All of these courses have course descriptions available to them, which are much more in-depth than what I'm offering you, and I will show you where to access those. Students who are in our board, they're on my blueprint. Otherwise, there's a public view where you can see all of these, and they're all posted on our website. I'm just going to speak briefly about the gym option because we have several options that I want to be able to explore with you. So, things you need to ask yourself when you're thinking about what gym credit I'm going to take is, how do I want to take my gym? When do I want to take it? Do I want it to be in grade 9? Maybe I want to get my gym credit out of the way. If that's the case, grade 9 is an excellent time to take it. If you do wait until grade 12 to take your gym credit, then you are more likely to be with students who have taken gym since grade 9 and are passionate about phys ed. You need to think about as well, who do you want to take gym with? So Healthy Active Living, PPL 1.0, is a sport activity-based gym that has units of sport. just like in elementary school. The PPL 103 is a course that you would take if you just want to have a gym class with male students. PPL 104 is a course you would take if you just want to have gym with female students. PPL 101 is inclusive of all student identities. Not that the other two are not inclusive of all student identities, but the PPL 101 will feel more like a grade 8 gym class where everyone is together. And all of these are counted for the compulsory credit that you need to graduate for your phys ed credit. You cannot take more than one, though. The first 5 digits, fun course code fact, first 5 digits of a course cannot be the same as something else. So you'll see they're all PPL 10. If they take 2 of them, they will only get credit for 1 of them, and we won't let that happen because we want to make sure they're getting as many credits as they need in their grade 9 year. So please keep this in mind when you're thinking about choosing phys ed as an option. There's another option as well, PAR 101. It is a movement-based gym, yoga, Pilates, and it's an alternate to sports activity gym. So not units of sport, but units of lifestyle fitness stuff. And it is well inclusive of all student identities. So please keep those in mind when you're considering which gym you want to take and when you want to take gym and how. So another tip, in addition to getting your hours done this summer, is when you're picking your courses, I really recommend your electives in grade 9 hit compulsory graduation requirements. So you'll see that these are part of the 18 that you must have. There's 15 here. So if you can take a course outside of this elective, in the electives, my apologies, if you take an elective that is in the arts department or the health and physical education department in grade 9, then you're knocking off 2 compulsory credits in grade 9, which really is the goal. We want to get as many credits as possible and working towards getting all the compulsory credits. As well, in addition to that 15, here's the remaining 3 of the 18 that you must have. So if you took the HIF course, you'd be getting credit in the social science and humanities. If you took another arts course, you'd be getting another arts credit that you need to graduate. And if you take the tech course, you'd be satisfying this requirement as well. So when you're choosing your course selections, make smart choices so that you're getting as many compulsory credits in grade 9 as possible if that's something you're interested in. Okay, what if you need help? What if you need support? And this is obviously an area that is incredibly passionate to me. If you need help, you have a guidance counselor. Every grade has a counselor, as I mentioned. We are always there to help, whatever the issue. In addition, you have subject teachers. They are great resources for subject-specific questions. We also have our ISS department, which is exceptional. They support students who have IEPs. We have tutors, there's after-school or lunchtime help. We have literacy and numeracy support programs that run after school as well when EQAO tests are coming up. And we have a SLAM program. It sounds aggressive. It is not. It's student leaders and mentors. It is grade 11 and 12 students paired with a grade 9 homeroom for an entire semester 1. They come in weekly to deliver curriculum, to answer questions. They are way cooler than I am and have their finger on the pulse of many more things than I do. So we use students as resources for leading kids to just create one more point of contact for them in the school outside of their teachers and their guidance counselor. Just a little bit about our academic resource, or ISS department. The Brooklyn High School certs will be at IPRC reviews for grade 8s. They have regular IEP updates and reviews each semester. It's ongoing. It's a continuous organic document that can be updated as needed. Our ISS department is available throughout the day for identified students needing course-specific support, to support the accommodations that are on their IEP. Perhaps they need a safe space to reset. And they're located across from guidance. So we work very closely with each other. They work to support students transition from 8 to 9. They work to support students with IEPs from grade 9 to 12. And they also work to transition students with IEPs beyond grade 12. So it's a big wraparound support that we have between guidance and ISS. And I'm sure that you will get to meet Ms. Peralta and Ms. McCabe, and they will answer any question that you have about ISS online tonight. And when you see them in person, you're going to feel incredibly supported. I know it, as I do. They support me all the time. Okay, technology is another way that we can support students. So every Brooklyn High School student will have a DDSB issued Chromebook device. So the grade 8s bring them. And please make sure it's theirs, because if it's not theirs, it will be bricked. So They bring their own device from grade 8 to 9. I'm not sure when they're being refreshed. I don't have that information right now. On grade 9 day, whatever that looks like, I will provide more information to you at that time. But they bring their devices with them to Brooklyn High School. And just a side note for you, some students have elected not to have Chromebooks. However, to write the provincial tests in grade 9 and 10, they must have a DDSB issued device. So if they're going to use a different device, that's fine, but they really do need to have access to their DDSB Chromebook. For our new students that are not on our board, you will be issued a device for September. When you register with us, which I am getting to, I will give a list to our land technician, and she will ensure that those devices are ready for distribution in early September to our students that are coming to us. All of our teachers use Google and D2L. There, as I mentioned, Miss Eunice is our land tech. She supports hardware and software issues that the children are having with their computers in the library. And Mr. Beggs is also a good resource for some quick tips on computer use. And then our inclusive student services also can assist with assistive technology on the devices or SIA laptops. Okay, what does high school feel like? It's awesome. This is a sample of what goes on at our SLAM orientation on grade 9 only day or grade 9 only morning. It's a wonderful day for students. There's lots of energy, and high school post-COVID has been wonderful, seeing smiles, hearing laughter, hearing noise. The halls are vibrating with energy, and it really is wonderful. I know this is an overwhelming screen to look at, but I like that because it lets you know what's happening at Brooklyn High School, and it is a lot. So I won't go into the details, but on the left-hand side are our clubs and teams we offer. And on the right-hand side are the sports. The lists of these things are constantly growing, constantly changing. There's lots of stuff happening every day at lunch and after school at Brooklyn High School. As important as curriculum is, your children are going to remember how they felt in their classes, how their teacher made them feel, and how high school felt. So I strongly encourage them to get engaged in activities that are outside the classroom at whatever level they like. It could be as low as the film club or as high as rugby. You know, there's different levels of involvement. So please, please, please encourage your children to get involved. These posters are posted everywhere around the school. So any day at lunch, a student can look and see what's going on and have some activity to do. Our high school, as I mentioned, is a beautiful place to be. There's lots of things happening. These are some snapshots of what it looks like. There's kids in the building now, obviously. Okay, so what if I'm not currently a Brooklyn High School family of schools human being? So I have an equal sign here because I really want to dispel some of the worry that I feel our students have that are not part of our schools. This equal sign means that all courses, whether you're a DDSB student or not, will be considered equally. No one will have higher priority over access to classes than the other, regardless. This is course selection time. Everyone is considered equally. There will be a date and time when the equal consideration date does come into effect. So for example, if you are from one of our local Catholic elementary schools and you decide in June that you want to come to Brooklyn High School, totally fine. We might have a timetable built by then, and we might not be able to accommodate your requests for electives that you're interested in. So please keep that in mind when you're deciding when you would like to declare that you're interested in coming to Brooklyn High School. So if you are one of our family of schools, you complete the course selections using my blueprint. If you don't come to a Brooklyn High School family of schools, but perhaps you're at Pringle or Meadowcrest for gifted or French immersion and you're looking to leave that program, please keep in mind we don't have French immersion or gifted programming at our school, so you'd be leaving that program. What you would do is contact your elementary secretary and show your address to prove you live in Brooklyn, and then they will change your next school indicator to Brooklyn High School. When they do that, then you will see Brooklyn High School courses in my blueprint. So if you're at Pringle or Meadowcrest and you're moving to us, you let the elementary secretary know they have to change your indicator, and the next day you'll see our courses on your My Blueprint. If you're not part of our family of schools and you're not in the DDSB, you're going to register online, and you're going to register for the 2023-2024 school year. Please do not register for this school year. That shows up as an error, and we have to reach out and talk to you to confirm, so you're registering for the next school year. You will then have to provide documentation via our Brooklyn High School Guidance Department. And my guidance secretary, Ms. Prontak, will be in touch with you via email. So once you fill in a registration, we get notified of your registration, and then we will send you an email. Those emails haven't gone out yet because we're waiting for this night to happen. And then we will send out emails next week en masse to you explaining what the next steps are. So if you've completed your registration, please just be patient until next week. You will all receive emails. The email that you put on your registration information, we will be in touch with you. And the email will be coming from guidance.brooklynhs@ddsb.ca, and it's from Candace Prontak. Once you have received that email, there'll be a link in there for a Google form, and that's how your child will choose classes. So family of schools, they'll choose on My Blueprint, or DDSB students on My Blueprint. Non-family, they'll choose on a Google form. Equal consideration, I type all of the courses in manually from the Google form. Don't worry, they all get in there and everyone will be okay. I promise. Trust the process. Every year we register between 70 to 85 students from our Catholic schools. So we're well versed at handling external registrations, I promise. So again, for our non-DDSB students, you need to fill in the form located on our DDSB website. Once the registration form is completed, we will notify you. I cannot say this enough. If your child had an IEP, an individual education plan, in another board or school, you must indicate that on the registration form. We have no other way of knowing that your child had an IEP. And if we don't know if your child has an IEP and they have one, then our ISS department has no way of supporting your child because we don't know that they came with an IEP. So please take time to fill in that registration form. If you do not know what an IEP is, then don't worry, that does not apply to you. But please make sure that you fill in, that you check that box if your child has an IEP in the Board of Education that they're currently in. After the verification of information we get from your documents, which will be in person, we cannot keep documents, so it'll be in person, parents will receive an email and they'll choose classes. Very streamlined process, I assure you. Just please make sure you're filling in the registration form correctly. In May, we're going to have our family of schools and our non-DDSB schools. Sorry, that says a virtual BHS tour. Good news, it's not virtual. They're going to actually be in our school in May. We're so excited about that. We can't wait to welcome them in. Our SLAM leaders will be there to run tours and answer questions. And it's a great time of year for them to see the students in action at Brooklyn High School. And the weather is nice enough for them to walk, we hope. Grade 9 only day, just to pause about that for a second, there will be some grade 9 events. I just don't know what the specific day will look like. This past year, it was a half a day. So the grade 9s only came in the morning with just grade 9s, and their parents came, and then they went to their classes. Then the whole school joined them at lunch, and then the grade 9s through 12s attended classes in the afternoon. So the grade 9s had 2 times to get through their timetable, which helped because then by the next day they were pros at where they were going. They also get their lockers before everybody else, and it kind of gives them an opportunity to acclimate to the school before there's 1,400 students there. We will communicate with you what that looks like. So hence, stay connected. Communication is key, and how you can stay connected is follow us on Instagram. We won't follow you back, I promise. Access Brooklyn HS, Access Brooklyn High School on Twitter. Follow us on social media because that is where we announce things. I told the grade 8s when I went to visit that we do not have morning announcements at Brooklyn High School. There's the land acknowledgement and O Canada, and that is it. There are no announcements talking about what's happening that day at Brooklyn High School. So students need to self-advocate. They need to be self-aware of what's going on. They need to follow the proper platforms. They need to access me on Remind or Google Classroom. They need to look in the hall. So please make sure that that is a major difference between grade 8 and 9 in terms of the communication points. There's no morning announcements. We have so much going on at Brooklyn High School. We'd never get to curriculum in period 1 if we kept talking about everything that was happening that day. So that is a major difference. I will invite all students in the fall to my Google Classroom. This is what it will look like, and it will be that classroom until they graduate. And believe it or not, it really does go quickly. We will join all together on grade 9 only day or grade 9 only morning. And then the next time we graduate, we join all together will be graduation. And believe me, it goes very, 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 very quickly. I remember when this last graduating class was in grade 9 and it feels like I just blinked. So there are lots of communication points with me and with the school. I'll also have a parent specific remind set up because you don't always need to get all the information that the students do, but I will share all of that information at our parent meeting on our grade 9 only morning or day. I just want to say thank you. We absolutely are looking forward to meeting your children. We cannot wait for them to be a part of Brooklyn High School. Brooklyn High School is an exceptional school with so many exceptional staff and programming and things going on. It's a wonderful community. I've spent the majority of my teaching career with Brooklyn families, from Donald A. Wilson to Brooklyn. I'm a Whitby girl. I just love this community and I love being able to support those in it. If you have any questions, we will stay on the line and answer those questions. Again, thank you so much. If you didn't have a question answered, please do not hesitate to reach out to the guidance email. It's on our Brooklyn High School website, and they will forward it to me, and I will answer your question as well. There's going to be lots of time for us to get to know each other. Do not worry. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to meet all of you and your children. Thank you so, so, so much. And I will hop on to answer questions as well that are in the Q&A. Thanks again. I really, really, really appreciate your time.